Today is for petition number 2022-036. It's part of PIN number 01-09-100-005. The address of the petition is 10810 Widener Road, Harvard, Illinois. Property consists of approximately 1.949 acres and is located on the east side of Widener Road, approximately 3,700 feet south of the intersection of Widener Road and the Wisconsin-Illinois state line in Chemung Township. The applicant is Marjorie B. Roach, trustee of the Marjorie B. Roach Revocable Trust dated 9/13/01, and also as successor trustee of a declaration of trust dated 9/13/01, known as the James A. Roach Revocable Trust, and Lyle D. Pleckner Revocable Trust dated 8/11/03. The request is for a reclassification from the A1 Agriculture District to the A2 Agriculture District. I'd like to introduce the board members with us today. First, we have Tom Jers from Coral Township, Robert Kozen from Algonquin Township, Don Smolinski from Grafton Township. I'm Linnea Kustra from Alden Township, Vicki Gardner from Nunda Township, and Kurt Schnabel from Riley Township. The fees have been paid. Publication, posting have appeared in the newspaper, and notification of endangered species consultation was not required for this petition. The survey has been checked against the petition, legal notice and publication in the newspaper, and all three match. And the Soil and Water Conservation District report has been received. Anyone who would like to give testimony or comment today, I'd like to swear you in at this point. So if you would like to speak, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, the way the hearing procedure is, your attorney, Midge, will present your case, and then the members of the zoning board will be able to ask questions, and then any member of the public will be able to ask questions, and then we'll take testimony from staff regarding the report that they've prepared regarding this petition, and then at the end, anybody who's here from the public is able to make a comment. So that's kind of how things work.
Thank you.
So we will go ahead and turn it over to you, Mr. Pat.
All right, thank you.
Did the attorney get sworn in as well?
I don't mind.
Yeah, I didn't see that
We
you...
normally don't, but that's fine.
Okay, do you solemnly affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Thank you.
Yes.
Are we done with the microphones, or should we start using those?
Oh,
We
should be using them. Thank you for that reminder. And this is
Is
for,
yours on, Midge?
we have
This?
you'll
This
have to
one?
pull this little tab towards you, Mitch.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess it is.
We have a court reporter who records this and then transcribes it for us, so
Okay.
thanks for that reminder, Kurt. Okay.
Okay,
Back to you.
we'll begin. What's your name?
Marjorie Roach.
And you're one of the petitioners in this case?
I am
Where do you reside?
in Harvard, 22604, Route 173.
You do not reside on the property?
I do not.
Okay. And you are one of the petitioners, is that correct?
That's correct.
You're the petitioner in your capacity as a trustee of two different trusts, is that correct? Both dated September 13, 2001, one being your revocable trust, the other being your late husband James's revocable trust.
Correct.
And the other petitioner is Lyle Pleckner. Are you related to him?
He's my brother-in-law.
And he is the petitioner in his capacity as trustee of a declaration of trust between himself and his late wife, dated August 11, 2003.
That's correct.
And each of you owns an undivided half interest in the real
Yes.
estate. When did you acquire the real estate, you and your brother?
In 1993.
And what was the event that cause you?
My father quitclaimed the property over to us.
Okay. Now, prior to that, this parcel had been part of a larger land holding, is that correct?
Yes, there was originally 202 acres.
All right. When did your family acquire that?
It was part of the original Albridge estate in 1858.
And ownership's remained in your family since that
Yes.
date? Is it safe to say that this property is what's left of that holding, and everything else has been conveyed
Yes.
to other parties? Correct?
Correct.
And we'll talk about this particular property. So this is 1.949 acres, correct?
Yes.
And it's got 271.12 feet of road frontage along Widener Road.
Yes.
Now, it's part of a larger parcel that's approximately 6.67 acres.
That's right.
Now, that
Excuse me, can you put that microphone maybe between you so it picks up you as well?
Or I can hold that.
Or hold the other one,
I'll
yeah,
hold that.
either way, okay.
Okay.
Hello. And so you're aware that if the zoning is granted on this 1.949 acres, that in the event that the buildings were destroyed, particularly the house, it could only be rebuilt within the confines of that 1.949 acres?
Yes.
Right? And your purpose in zoning only the 1.949 acres was to exclude the hay ground, which is the remainder of the 6+ acre parcel?
Yes.
Let's describe the improvements on the property. There's a dwelling, is that correct?
Yes, there's a house. There's a barn, a large barn. There's a couple of small sheds. And there is there's a larger shed, but it's, and none of it is in pristine condition.
All right. Is it safe to say that the presence of those buildings constitutes an impediment to the use of this 1.949 acre parcel for agriculture?
For agriculture, yes.
Is it safe to say that what you're zoning is essentially the buildings and the yard?
Yes.
All right. And describe the house. What kind of condition is it in?
It's an old, very old dwelling, but it's been kept up over the years.
Would you say good condition, fair condition?
Fair.
All right. Is it served with well and septic?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, are those operating properly?
Yes.
Who or is the house occupied
Right now it is, yes.
by tenants?
Yes.
And what other utilities serve the property? Electricity, obviously, right?
Electric and propane.
And how would you describe the terrain of the property? It appears to be relatively level, looking at the photographs.
Yeah, it's on a hill. The house is on a hill and it slopes down then a bit.
Toward the road?
More towards, there's a creek at the eastern edge of the property.
And that would be the red line on that original
Yeah, it's the Piscasaw runs through it there.
And if your zoning request is granted, do you have any particular plans for the property?
We hope to sell it.
And you are not under contract with anyone
No,
at this time?
not at this
Thank you.
time.
Thank you. Would you describe the surrounding properties? Let's just say within a mile of this property.
It's all tillable acreage. Well, there's woods there too.
And isolated home sites, like farmsteads?
Yeah, yeah, there's a few along Widener.
So would it be safe to say that the area is predominantly agricultural?
Oh, absolutely.
And are you aware of any proposed changes in that? Do you know of any plans for development in any way? shape,
No,
or form?
I have not heard anything about any.
And it's true that the reclassification of your property would not result in any change in the use of the property?
No.
And you're aware that if your zoning request is granted, that the only permitted use of the property would be the existence of one single-family dwelling.
Right, yes.
And you're aware that if the existing septic system serving the property were to fail, in order to install a new septic, it would need to comply with all applicable building, health codes and subject to soil suitability under current
Yes.
provisions of the McHenry County Health
Mhm.
Public Health Ordinance. I'm going to read you a list of standards, and these are required for the approval of your zoning. In your opinion, is the proposed zoning compatible with the existing uses and zoning of the surrounding properties?
Yes.
And is your property diminished by the existing zoning, meaning if it were to remain A1, and currently as it stands, for example, if the house were to be destroyed, it would not be able to be rebuilt without a zoning reclassification. So in that regard, does the existence of the property under the current A1 zoning diminish its value? Is it worth more rezoned than if it's not?
Yes, it's
rezoned?
worth more rezoned.
Okay. And would the public health, safety, and welfare be adversely affected by this rezoning in any way?
No.
And would there be any gain to the public in relation to the hardship on you if the zoning were not granted? In other words, would the public be more benefited than you would be
Yeah.
hurt by the denial of zoning? Okay, I'm going to do my best to try to ask a question here. And is the property suitable for the existing uses in the A1 district, mainly agriculture? Now, we're talking about the 1.949 acres.
Yes.
Well, but it's not really suitable
No.
for agriculture in the sense that...
No, it's suitable for living.
Okay, and the existence of the buildings and particularly the dwelling would constitute impediments to the productive agricultural
Right.
use of this property.
Mhm.
Is there a community need for the proposed use of the property, meaning the continued use of the property? I guess probably not, but probably, maybe we should say yes.
Okay, say
Okay,
yes
and
then.
in your opinion, is the proposed use of the property and the zoning reclassification consistent with the county's comprehensive plan, which provides for agricultural use with isolated A2 zonings of farmsteads such as this? It's your
Yes,
request is
yes.
compatible with what the county has planned for it. Yeah, I have no further questions.
We'll start our questioning with Mr. Jers at the end of the table. Do you have any questions, sir?
No, I understand what they're asking for.
Okay, Mr. Kozin,
I have no questions.
Mr. Smolinski.
I've just, the balance of your 6-something acres, is that to the east of this property?
Yes,
Okay. And you said you're currently using part of that for hay operation?
Yes.
Total? Okay. That's all the questions I have, thank you.
Ms. Gardner,
I have no questions.
Mr. Schnabel.
This is nothing super serious. I'm just curious, can we go back to the picture, our front page with the yellow square? Just a second. Up in the right corner on the top, past the yellow line on the adjacent parcel, there's those tractors or trucks or something parked there.
could be,
You see what I'm saying?
yeah, just to the north of that.
North of
Yeah.
the yellow line.
North of that, yeah.
Northeast corner there, you know?
I suppose it's just, yeah, could be machinery.
It looks like some of them were driving around in a circle on that adjacent parcel, so I'm thinking that square object could be a tractor sitting there.
It could be. It's all farmland up there, so,
Like I said, not a serious question, I was just curious if you know. That's all
Yeah.
I have, thank you.
yeah. It's
So-
about 5 miles away from where I live, so I don't go by it often.
So when you say the Piscasaw Creek, that's to the east end of the hayfield, correct?
Right,
That's not like
yes.
on this piece, this
No.
parcel you're rezoning.
Right.
And then also you have some farm buildings here, so even though it's maybe not useful for farming per se, large farming, somebody could have some chickens or that sort of thing there, right? So they
Yes,
could have
yes, they do, in
farm-type
fact, the,
animals.
right. In fact, the tenants do now have a couple of goats and pigs, I think, pet type. And I think they do have some chickens.
So even as this is rezoned, it would be the type of residence that would fit well within agriculture because of the outbuildings that are there, that, you know, it would be a suitable little
Yes.
farmette type thing for somebody who wants to
Correct.
live in the country and have farm animals.
Right. Mhm.
And there's suitable soils there for replacement septic if necessary.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, does staff have any questions for the petitioner?
Yes. So you went through the approval standards for zoning amendments, but as this is a request to go from A1 to A2, there's additional standards that were at the bottom of the third page of my written report there. Could you address those as well, please?
Let me find your written report.
It may be numbered 7 and 15 at the bottom there.
Would be a
Oh, I
proposed
get it.
page 4.
Okay, all right. So this property is currently in the A1 district, A1 agricultural district, yes.
Yeah.
And it has a lawfully constructed residential building on the property.
Yes.
And the zoning petition is restricted to a single existing or proposed parcel.
Yes.
If I could interject one thing, at the time we filed this petition, this property was part of a larger parcel. This is the 6.67 acre parcel currently has its own PIN number, so it's no longer part. So it's 0109100-005, covers that entire parcel.
So
And-
what part of the Plat Act are you using as the exception?
Well, we aren't making any division at all. This is what remains after a series of Plat Act exempt divisions. So there will be no further division of this property. I think that's it.
Okay. Could you give me the PIN number that you think is the new assigned PIN number?
01, well, as I checked this morning, 0109100-005. It was
So that
part-
is the 6 acre parcel?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And you're taking about 2 acres here, you're not dividing that from?
We're not dividing that off. So
Okay, you're just rezoning that portion?
that portion, right, because
Okay.
it excludes the hay ground in the back that would be tillable and wouldn't
Okay,
meet the.
so if you decide to sell, at this point, you're thinking that you're selling the entire 6 acres?
They'd have to, there wouldn't be
Yeah.
any further exception.
Okay.
Are there any questions by members of the public?
So, do you need my?
Would you, if you want a question, you need to come up and identify yourself and then ask the question.
Could you, ask the microphone?
So, yeah,
Your name and address.
My name is Linda Volek. My address is 1006 North Jefferson in Harvard. So, one of my questions was just answered, but I wanted to just get clarification. So, if the zoning is approved, it will be the whole 6-point-whatever acres that will be separated and sold separate.
Yes.
It won't be just the the yellow
No,
outline?
not just the buildings, no.
Oh, okay, gotcha, thanks.
Okay, if there's no other questions, we'll take testimony from members of the public, starting with the staff.
Okay, so the applicant is requesting a map amendment from the A1 to the A2 district on just under 2 acres. It is consistent with the uses of the area. It is consistent with the comprehensive plan designation for that area. So that designation is agricultural. It is not in a sensitive aquifer recharge area. And the applicant has demonstrated today that they are meeting both the standards for rezoning and for rezoning to an A1 to an A2 classification. Therefore, staff has no objections to this request.
Any questions for staff by the members of the board? I just want to clarify, so if this house was, something happened to this house currently, they would have a problem rebuilding it because it's non-conforming, was that correct? And so the rezoning solves that problem?
That is correct.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't turn to anybody down here have a question? Okay. Anyone from the public, would you like to make a statement?
Yeah.
Mr. Pat, maybe you'd lend her your microphone again.
I think it's on.
Do I have to say my name again, or?
Yeah, please.
Linda Bollock, 1006 North Jefferson in Harvard. So yeah, I came here today because I've been seeing a lot of these types of rezoning things that come up where the farmstead is cut off from the rest of the farm and sold separately. And it's usually on such a small piece of land, and the buildings are usually in such bad shape that you kind of wonder who would be able to live there, let alone create a farm business there. And we're talking about like endangered species, and I just wanted to bring up one that people don't talk about very much, but we need to start thinking about more, and that's the small food farmer that feeds the community, that grows food, that stays in the community, nourishes us, and nourishes the economy. So when these things come up, we have to be thinking about where do we want smaller, the next generation of farmers to live and to work. And when we cut this little piece out, we're kind of taking the place where farmers live away. And we're making it easier for, the larger farmers that need more land, to make it easier for them to grow more corn and beans, when what we really need is more space and more opportunity for our smaller food farmers that want to grow a diversity of different kinds of food that you can eat and put on your table. You can't go out to a cornfield, pick an ear of corn and think you're going to eat it. I tried that. It's impossible. So just what I'm saying is, now that I know that it's going to be the 6 point whatever acres that is going to be cut out, then maybe it gives the smaller farmer that is looking for a place to raise their food and to make a small farm business, it will make it more possible for them to do it. And what I was thinking when I came here was that it's just going to be the 1 point something acres, and there's no way that a farmer can really, other than a hobby farm, can make a business out of something like that. And I'm just thinking that in the future, when we're looking at carving out the farmstead from the rest of the larger farm to include acreage, I would say at least 10 acres, so that people have a place to live and work and create their own farm, because we need farmers here. We need them to grow food for us. And thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to, if you want to summarize the closing, you have a closing statement, Mr.
I don't really have a closing statement.
Okay, so we've heard all the testimony. I will close this hearing now, and we will open the voting meeting. Again, the order of business for this voting meeting is petition number 2022-036. This is a request for reclassification from the A1 Agricultural District to the A2 Agricultural District. The applicant is Marjorie B. Trustee. The address of the property is 10810 Widener Road, Harvard, Illinois. So at this time, I would entertain a motion.
So I'm going to interject for just one moment, if I may.
What do they do now?
You're fine. Just a reminder that you do have 6 members.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Papp, we do not have a full board today, and you need 5 yes
We
votes.
can proceed.
Okay, you're comfortable with proceeding with 6?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you for that reminder. All right, so now I'll go back to entertaining a motion to approve the petition.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Jers, second by Mr. Cozen. Discussion, Mr. Jers.
This is why A2 was created. It's a good use for that classification.
Okay, Mr. Cozen, do you have any comments?
No, I do not.
Mr. Smolinski?
This petition meets the requirements of the ordinance, and I will support the petition.
Ms. Gardner?
I also support the petition. This is a good A2 petition. I think it should be granted. I am happy to hear that the entire parcel will be included in a sale that you make, so there's no landlocked areas and so on and so forth.
Right.
But as far as the A2 portion of it, I think it's a great move. Thank you.
Mr. Schnabel?
I will support the petition request.
And also, I would just like to add that this is really what the A2 designation in our zoning ordinance is intended for, so that if you have a rural residence and you'd like to be able to split it off and allow it to still be a place for someone to live, but a lot of people will buy a farm and not want to be able to maintain buildings, but they want to be able to allow that for some small farmer maybe to have a business, and this allows that to happen. It's consistent with the land use plan in supporting rural residences and agriculture in the county. This is a very rural area of the county. It doesn't have any impact on anyone, except it allows this, if something happens to the home, it can be rebuilt without a problem. It still maintains the hayfield. There's no division of property in this petition. It's just making sure that the buildings are such that the house can be rebuilt. So I think it meets the standards in our ordinance for the A2 and also for the reclassification, and I'm in favor of the request. So I will call for the vote. Mr. Jers?
Yes.
Mr. Cozen?
Yes.
Mr. Smolinski?
Yes.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Schnabel?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. This will go to the county board with a 6-0 vote. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting is closed.